pasta is nice, but Rachel used to add a bit of rosemary and thyme. It really brought out the flavors, Jake said casually, swallowing his fork in the pasta. Ella paused her fork mid-air. "Oh, I didn't know you were such a hard person," she replied, trying to mask the surprise and hurt in her eyes. "Yeah, Rachel was quite the cook. You should have tasted her pasta," he continued.
"I see you, my heart, baby. A lady of all men's dreams. You be the one way."
Hello guys, meet Ella, the woman whose husband demands she cooks her food just exactly like his ex. Unbelievable, right? Sit tight as we unravel this story together. You definitely don't want to miss this one. Ella recalled that evening vividly. The kitchen was filled with the aroma of spices and herbs, a labor of love as she prepared Jake's favorite meal. They sat down at the dinner table, set with care, expecting another quiet, cozy night. "Ella, this pasta is nice, but Rachel used to add a bit of rosemary and thyme. It really brought out the flavors," Jake said casually, swallowing his fork in the pasta. Ella paused her fork mid-air. "Oh, I didn't know you were such a hard person," she replied, trying to mask the surprise and hurt in her eyes. "Yeah, Rachel was quite the cook. You should have tasted her pasta," he continued, not noticing how Ella was feeling at the moment. The rest of the dinner passed in a blur. His words echoed in Ella's mind, overshadowing the clink of cutlery and the mundane conversations that followed. Lying in bed that night, Ella couldn't shake off the feeling of unease. His casual comparison to Rachel, his ex-girlfriend, was unlike him. Was it just innocent reminiscing, or was there something more? Over the next few days, Ella noticed more comparison. Ella, Rachel had this amazing way of organizing the living room. Or, you remember how Rachel used to laugh at my jokes? Each mention of her name was like a tiny needle prick, a reminder that Ella was being measured against someone else. One evening, while Jake was in the shower, his phone buzzed on the table. Ella glanced at it, intending to ignore it, but Rachel's name flashed on the screen. Curiosity overcame her, and she picked up the phone. The message was harmless, just a simple, "Hey, how is it going?" But it was enough to fuel the growing suspicion in Ella's heart. She decided to confide in her best friend, Lydia. They met at their usual spot, a canteen downtown. As Ella poured out her fears and suspicions, Lydia listened intently, her expression a mix of concern and anger. "Ella, this isn't like Jake. Have you confronted him about it?" Lydia asked her. "I haven't. I don't know if I should do that. What if it's just friendly banter? But why hide it?" Ella replied, her voice a mix of confusion and fear. "Ella, you deserve the truth. Maybe you should look a little deeper into this, but be careful, okay?" Lydia's advice was a cautious yet supportive. That night, as Jake slept beside Ella laid awake, her mind racing with thoughts. How had their simple loving life come to this? Was she overthinking it, or was there something hidden beneath it? She was too afraid to uncover it. The next morning, Ella decided to take Lydia's advice. She started to pay more attention to Jake's routine, his phone calls, his late nights at works, the occasional messages from Rachel turned into frequent texts and calls. Her heart sank with each discovery, but she knew she had to be sure before confronting him. She started to document everything: the calls, the messages, the late night. She wasn't sure what she was looking for or what she would do when she found out, but she knew she couldn't live in ignorance. As days turned into weeks, the evidence piled up, painting a picture Ella couldn't ignore. Ella wasn't quite sure yet if Jake was actually cheating on her, but a new fire kindled in her, determination and strength. She wasn't going to let this break her if she found out Jake was cheating. She was going to fight back, but not in a way Jake would ever expect. This realization marked the end of the first chapter of Ella's journey, a journey that would test her strength and resolve in ways she never imagined. The truth about Jake's infidelity began to unravel, and Ella found herself at a crossroad between heartbreak and retribution. Sitting across from Lydia in their favorite canteen, she stirred her food nervously. The steam rose like the anxiety in her heart. "Lydia, I can't shake this feeling. Jake's been acting so strange lately, and I keep seeing Rachel's name pop up on his phone." Lydia's eyes narrowed with concern. "Have you talked to him about it, Ella?" Ella shook her head. "I can't. Not yet. I need to know more first." She leaned in, her voice firm yet reassuring. "Okay, Ella, you need evidence. Start keeping track of everything. Calls, messages, any unusual behavior. Is the only way you will know for sure." Taking Lydia's advice to heart, Ella began more secret investigation. She documented more, everything, the late night, texts, the calls that Jake hurriedly dismissed when he entered the room, and his increasingly frequent work trips. Each piece of evidence was a dagger to Ella's heart, but she needed to be certain. One evening, as Ella sat at home going over through the damning evidence on Jake's old iPad he'd carelessly left behind, a plan began to form in her mind. If Jake wanted culinary brilliance, she would give it to him, but not for his sake. It would be for hers, a subtle show of her newfound strength. She enrolled in cooking classes with a renowned local chef. Remember, cooking is not just a skill, it's an art, the chef said as they finally chopped herbs. "I am ready to create a masterpiece," she replied, "even if not from Jake, but for myself." With a newfound determination, weeks passed and her culinary skills grew exponentially. She experimented with exotic flavors and techniques, transforming their kitchen into gastronomic laboratory. All the while, Jake remained blissfully unaware of the storm brewing. "Ella, this new recipe is amazing. Where did you learn to cook like this?" Jake asked one evening, genuinely impressed as he savored a bite of her latest creation. "I just picked up a few things here and there," Ella replied nonchalantly, masking the bittersweet satisfaction behind a practiced smile. As her culinary prowess flourished, so did her plan for retribution. She was no longer the same woman Jake thought he could easily deceive. She was stronger, smarter, and ready to confront the betrayal head on. But it had to be at the right moment, under the right circumstances. She often found solace in her conversations with Lydia. "I can't believe how far you've come, Ella. You are like a completely different person," she remarked, her eyes reflecting both pride and concern. "I had to be," she said, a hint of steel in her voice. "I couldn't let him break me, not anymore." The final piece of her plan fell into place. One ordinary evening, as Ella set the table for what Jake thought was just an ordinary dinner, she knew it was the beginning of the end of his deceit, and the start of her victory. She served the meal with a resolve she never knew she possessed. Each dish a testament to her journey from a betrayal wife to a woman of resilience. Jake was in for a surprise, one that would shatter his world as hers. But this time, she will be the one in control, steering the course of her own story. The stage was set for her grand reveal. The evening sun cast a warm glow over their dining room, where she had meticulously arranged an array of exquisite dishes. The aroma of pasta food filled the air as Jake and his friends gathered around the table, unaware of the storm that was about to unfold. "Wow, Ella, you've outdone yourself. This looks like a fix fit for a king," exclaimed one of Jake's friends, his eyes wide with admiration. Ella smiled, serving the dishes with a flourish. "I hope it tastes as good as it looks." As they dug in, the praises started pouring in. "This is incredible, Ella. I didn't know you were such a phenomenal cook." Ella glanced at Jake, who seemed both proud and surprised. "Yeah, Ella's really been upping her game in the kitchen," he said, a hint of smugness in his voice. The dinner progressed amidst laughter and conversations, but a heavy weight lingered in Ella's chest. It was time. She cleared her throat, capturing everyone's attention. "I am glad everyone is enjoying the meal. There is something important I need to discuss," she began, her voice steady. Jake looked at her, puzzled. "What's up, Ella? You seem serious." She pulled out her phone, displaying the messages and call logs she had collected over the past few weeks. "It's about Jake and his affair with Rachel." The room fell silent, the air thick with tension. Jake's face drained of color as his friends turned to him, their expression a mix of shock and disbelief. "This can't be true. Ella." "Jake, tell her she's mistaken," one friend stammered, looking between them. Ella continued, undeterred. "I have all the proof here, messages, calls, late night meetings. I thought you all should know the kind of man Jake really is." Jake stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. "This is ridiculous, Ella. Why are you doing this?" His friends looked uncomfortable and uncertain. "Man, if this is true, that's messed up," muttered one, shaking his head. Ella turned to Jake, her voice resolute. "It's over, Jake. I can't be with someone who disrespects and betrays me like this. I deserve better." With those final words, she left the room, leaving Jake to face the consequences of his actions. The sound of hushed, uneasy conversations faded behind them. As she walked away in that moment, she wasn't just walking away from a dinner party gone wrong. She was walking away from a life that no longer served her, a life overshadowed by deceit and betrayal. As she closed the door behind her, a sense of liberation washed over her. It was the end of one chapter and the beginning of another one. A chapter where she was the author of her own story, a story of resilience, self-respect, and newfound independence. This chapter marks the beginning of her new life, one where Ella embraced her passion and newfound independence. In a vibrant new city, the hustle and bustle of this place was a stark contrast to her old life, a life she had decisively left behind. Her days were filled with the aroma of fresh coffee and baked goods as she poured her heart into her small cafe canteen, a quiet, charming spot nestled on a busy street, quickly became her favorite among the local worlds. Adorned with art, the cozy ambience, and most importantly, the unique recipe she created. It was a reflection of her journey, her resilience. Your pasta mixed with herbs are to die for, Ella. How do you come up with this recipe? A regular customer asked her, her eyes sparkling with delight. She smiled, handing her a delicious food, just a bit of culinary magic and a lot of passion. The canteen wasn't just a business. It was her sanctuary, a place where she rebuilt her life piece by piece. Every satisfied customer, every busy morning rushed with a testament to her strength and independence. One rainy afternoon, as Ella was closing up, her phone rang. She glanced at the screen. It was Jake. Her heart skipped a beat, a flood of emotions washing over her. After a moment of hesitation, she answered, "Ella, please, I need to talk to you. I am very sorry for everything." Jake's voice was desperate, a stark contrast to the confident man Ella once knew. She took a deep breath, steadying her voice. "There is nothing left to say, Jake. What's done is done. But I can change, Ella. I miss you. I am a mess without you," he pleaded. Ella sighed, a sense of finality settling over her. "It's too late, Jake. I've moved on. I've found happiness, something I couldn't have done with you. Goodbye." As she hung up, a sense of closure enveloped her. Jake was her past, a chapter closed forever. She was no longer the woman he had once known, the woman overshadowed by betrayal and heartache. Days turned into weeks, and her canteen thrived. It became more than just a place to eat. It was a community hub, a place where laughter filled the air and friendships were forged. She found joy in the little things, the early morning prep, the satisfied smiles of customers. One evening, as Ella locked up, she took a moment to look at the cafe sign, her name etched proudly below. She had done it. She had built something beautiful from the ashes of her old life. Walking back home to her apartment, she thought about everything that had happened, the pain, the betrayal, the growth, and the triumph. It had been a journey of transformation, one that taught her the true meaning of resilience and self-worth. As she lay in bed that night, a sense of contentment washed over her. She was surrounded by supportive friends, loyal customers, and most importantly, a sense of peace. She had found her place in the world, not as someone's wife or a victim, but as Ella, the woman who rose from the depths of despair to create a life filled with joy, purpose, and success. This was her story, a story of triumph, a testament to the strength of the human spirit, and the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with endless possibilities and new-found hope. The story of Ella's journey from heartache to triumph has come to an end. How would you have reacted if you were in Emma's shoes? Would you have sought revenge or chosen a different path? Share your thoughts in the comment sections below. And if you enjoyed Ella's story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more stories to life. Join our growing community and let's continue to explore these intriguing narratives together. Till I see you again in my next story. Goodbye.